Tucked away in the Hamptons is the small village of Sag Harbor, home to the three historical beachfront neighborhoods of Azurist, Sag Harbor Hills, and Nineveh. Black individuals lived and established these neighborhoods in the late 1940s to early 1950s. Longtime resident Bill Pickens knows this all too well, as his family was one of the founding families.
In the last 65 years, it was almost exclusively an African-American community because there were very few places we could go. So this was a hallmark of the segregation that existed in America.
Now, the black population decreased from nearly 100% to around 65% in Azurist and Sag Harbor Hills, and around 50% in Nineveh. Longtime residents like Michael Butler want to preserve the black presence. Some residents found this desire racist, but Butler disagrees.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with any culture wanting to maintain its integrity. Its area, its history, its familial base.
Sag Harbor's three beachfront communities served as a refuge from racism in the 1900s for the African Americans who decided to summer here. Some scholars say that relating some of the newfound tension in these communities to race overlooks how they were founded.
Trying to frame the sort of tensions around the shift in Sag Harbor as a type of racism kind of ignores, first of all, a lot of the historical specificity of what Sag Harbor was and how it was created.
But there are some incoming residents who understand the desire to preserve the black presence in these neighborhoods.
Growing up in this country in the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s, even today, to be able to preserve that in a community that has not been able to have access to that, I totally get that.
While many new homeowners are white, Latino and Asian families are also moving into these neighborhoods. And many of the bungalow or ranch-style homes that once dominated these areas are disappearing as new residents build bigger homes.
Buyers and builders are coming in, building very large homes and flipping them for a lot of money. So now instead of $800,000 homes or $700,000 homes, you have $1.5 million, $2 million homes as your starting price point, as your average. Anything under $600,000 is really considered a tear down.
Older homes are also disappearing because individuals who've inherited property from their families don't always have the means or the desire to maintain them. And some residents say preserving these homes are vital to maintaining the history of these areas.
It's important that homes be kept and maintained so that you tend to build wealth in the black community. Then you have a legacy to pass on to the next generation of people that are coming behind you. And in that sense, you then keep a presence, you keep your history, you keep yourselves maintained.
Some black residents moving out of Sag Harbor's historic black neighborhoods are moving into warmer states like Florida.
America has expanded and opportunities for African Americans have expanded. Our children and grandchildren can live anywhere in the world and have beachfront property almost anywhere.
But the three beachfront communities in Sag Harbor are a rarity.
There are real questions. Are there other places like this? Are there other places that these folks and their households and their children and their grandchildren can go to experience elite leisure beach culture and not be the only ones there of their background?
The changing demographic troubles residents like Pickens, but it will take time before the black population disappears completely from these communities.
There is some angst, sure, it's understandable angst. I've got the angst. But I think the angst can be put in perspective. This is going to take time, a long time, for to switch this to even past 50-50.